welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're plunging into a really fascinating concept from Japan, Ikigai, which seems to hold some profound insights into living a long and, well, happy life.
Right. You've probably heard the term, maybe seen that Venn diagram that gets passed around.
Yeah, the four circles.
Exactly. But the sources we're digging into today, especially this one fantastic book all about it, show it's much richer than that. It's not just finding one single thing.
So it's more complex.
Yeah, it's more like a dynamic mix of everyday habits, certain philosophies, and a particular attitude towards life and its challenges.
Okay. So our mission here, for you listening, is to really pull out the key insights from these sources. We want to give you a solid understanding of Ikigai, maybe even some practical ideas you can, use yourself.
Let's get started then. So Ikigai, the source calls it this kind of elusive, almost mysterious word. But at its core, it's about your reason for being, right?
Yep.
Your passion for life, finding that thing that gets you up in the morning.
And the source contrasts this with existential crisis.
Yeah, exactly. It suggests that in modern life, we often end up following paths set by others or just societal pressure instead of what we genuinely want. And this can create a kind of emptiness.
A void.
Right, which people then try to fill maybe with money or quick thrills, sometimes with pretty negative results.
That search for meaning, though, it feels universal, doesn't it? The source actually links it to a Western idea, Viktor Frankl's logotherapy.
Oh, absolutely. Frankl's work is fascinating. He believed, based on his own pretty harrowing experiences, that our psychological well-being really depends on this tension, this striving between what we've done and what we still aim to do.
So it's not about being comfortable, but about having a purpose.
Yeah.
Even when things are tough.
Precisely. And the source shares some really powerful case studies from his work that illustrate this perfectly.
That story about the American diplomat, that one really struck me. Miserable career, therapy wasn't helping.
Right. And Frankl apparently just cut straight to it. So the problem wasn't some deep childhood thing. It was simply that the guy genuinely wanted a different career. The purpose was in making that change.
Wow. Just like that.
Yeah. And then there's the suicidal mother. Frankl asked her to imagine herself on her deathbed looking back.
Okay.
And from that perspective, she saw her life had immense value because of the love and care she'd given her paralyzed son. Her purpose was crystal clear in that selfless dedication.
And the grieving doctor, who couldn't get past losing his wife.
Frankl flipped the question. What if he had died first? And the doctor immediately realized how much she would have suffered. So Frankl helped him see his own suffering, his survival, as the price he paid to spare her that pain.
Incredible. 3 totally different situations, but all pointing to finding meaning, sometimes through really hard stuff.
Exactly. So these ideas kind of lay the foundation, but then the sources get really practical, looking at the habits of, long-lived, happy people, like in Okinawa, one of those blue zones.
Right. And the first big habit they talk about is eating wisely. This Okinawan idea, hara hachibu.
Yes. It's so simple but profound. Fill your belly to 80%.
So not stuffing yourself?
Not at all. It's ancient wisdom. Stop eating when you start to feel full, not when you're completely packed. The Okinawans practice this, and the source connects it to less digestive stress, less cellular oxidation, basically, less wear and tear.
It's really about mindful eating, isn't it? Paying attention to your body's signals.
Totally. Thinking about that last bite or skipping dessert sometimes if you're already feeling satisfied.
And the Japanese way of serving food on lots of small plates, that actually helps with this, right? Encourages variety in smaller amounts.
It does. And the source mentions the types of foods they eat a lot of. Plenty of veggies like broccoli, chard, oily fish, fruits, citrus, berries, dried fruits, grains like oats, wheat, olive oil.
Moderate red wine, too, I think.
Moderate red wine, yeah. And white tea gets a special mention. Apparently, it's a really powerful antioxidant, maybe even more so than green tea. It's a nutrient-dense, fairly light way of eating.
Okay, so that's food.
Yep.
Then there's movement. The source uses that analogy. Water moves. It is at its best when it flows.
Love that. It sums it up perfectly. Being sedentary isn't just about weight. It carries serious health risks. Your metabolism slows way down after just half an hour of sitting.
Wow, only 30 minutes.
Yeah. But the good news, according to the source, is you don't need intense workouts every day. Simple things make a big difference.
Like walking.
Walking for at least 20 minutes, taking the stairs instead of the lift or escalator, just weaving movement into your day consistently.
And the source also brings up some Eastern practices that combine mind and body.
Right. Yoga, obviously, with its postures and breath focus. The sun salutation is mentioned as a classic example, that sequence of 12 flowing movements.
Yeah, linking breath with each pose, upward stretch, forward fold, stepping back.
Cobra, downward dog, all that. It's like a moving meditation.
Okay, what else?
Then there's Qigong. That involves static and dynamic exercises focused on breathing and cultivating Qi, your life energy. The source even describes one posture, the earth posture, to give a sense of it.
And Tai Chi.
And shiatsu.
Tai Chi, yes. And shiatsu massage, which uses pressure points, stretching, and breath to get energy flowing better.
So the common element in all these, the source says, is they're not just physical.
Exactly. They combine movement with being aware of your breath. That brings your focus into your body, helps quiet the mental chatter, the daily worries.
Interesting. And there was that small point about keeping your fingers busy.
Oh yeah, that quote was great. The key to staying sharp in old age is in your fingers, like knitting, playing music, writing. It keeps those neural pathways active, from fingers to brain and back again.
Which leads nicely into keeping the mind active itself. That old saying, mens sana in corpore sano, sound mind, sound body.
Absolutely central. The source stresses that mental exercise slows down neuron deterioration. It cites neuroscientist Shlomo Brezhnitz saying the brain needs stimulation, like a muscle. So you need to challenge it, give it new things.
Exactly. Confront it with new information, break out of ingrained habits. That revitalizes it.
Otherwise, you just kind of coast mentally.
Right. And the source, talking about work by Hemingway and Brezhnitz, notes that mental training doesn't just make tasks easier, it actually improves your mood and self-image, gives you that feeling of competence.
So mental workouts aren't just like Sudoku.
No, not necessarily. It can be simple stuff. Engaging conversations, learning a game, dealing with new situations, just continuous learning about things that interest you.
I like that T.H. White quote. Learning is the thing the mind can never exhaust. Never dream of regretting.
Beautiful, isn't it? And Ellsworth Kelly, the artist, saying he saw more as he got older, suggests our capacity to perceive and appreciate can actually grow if we keep engaging.
It's all about staying curious, which connects really well to the next big idea for finding Ikigai, flow.
Ah, yes, flow. Mihaly's is Mihaly's concept, being totally immersed.
Yeah, the source describes it as losing track of time, your ego just dissolves, you become one with the activity. Like that skiing example. The skier isn't thinking about other stuff, they are the skiing.
It's that peak engagement state. The source calls it an optimal experience and says it's crucial for living your Ikigai. It's the opposite of just chasing quick, superficial pleasures.
And it's universal, right?
Yeah.
Not just for artists or athletes.
That's what's so compelling.
Yeah.
Csikszentmihalyi found it's the same basic state whether you're playing chess, doing math, performing surgery, gardening, whatever. And across cultures, ages, New York, Okinawa, doesn't matter.
And the state of mind is focused, ordered.
Exactly. The mind is in order, completely focused, no room for distractions.
So how do we actually get into flow more often? The source mentioned some strategies based on Owen Schaefer's work.
Right. First, the task needs to be challenging, but not too challenging. It has to stretch your skills, but not overwhelm them.
Finding that sweet spot.
Yeah. Too easy, you get bored. Too hard, you get anxious.
Right.
Right in the middle, where challenge meets your current skill level, that's the flow zone. Like trying to read quantum physics with no background. Anxiety. Rereading a kid's book. Boredom. Reading something engaging that pushes you a bit. That's where flow can happen.
Okay, so the right level of difficulty. What else?
You need a clear, concrete objective. Video games and sports are good examples. The goals are obvious.
Makes sense.
The source points out that unclear missions are actually a huge barrier to flow in many workplaces. That Boston Consulting Group study found it was the top complaint from employees.
Ah, interesting. Like that idea of compass over maps, having a direction, even if the exact steps aren't laid out.
Precisely. But then, and this is crucial, once you start, you have to kind of let go of obsessing over the objective itself while you're doing it.
Focus on the process.
Yes. The Olympic runner focuses on running the race, not the medal ceremony during the race. The writer focuses on the next sentence, not the book deadline. The doing is the reward in that moment.
And the environment matters too. Distraction-free space, feeling in control.
Big time. Technology is tricky here, isn't it? It can enable flow, but it's also designed to grab our attention constantly. Multitasking is basically the enemy of flow.
Yeah, that red-blue arrow study they mentioned was pretty stark. Multitasking didn't just slow things down.
It tanked productivity by like
Hmm.
60%. And it hurt memory, increased errors, raised stress. Our brains just aren't built for that constant switching.
So single tasking is key. Any tips?
The source suggests things like organizing your tasks, maybe batching similar routine things together, and being really intentional about shutting off notifications when you need to focus. Flow needs focus. Simple as that.
And flow seems really embedded in Japanese culture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Artisans, engineers.
Yes, the tokumis, the master artisans, definitely embody it, but also engineers, even otakus, completely immersed in their interests. There's that concept of ganbaru, perseverance, doing your absolute best.
That deep attention to detail. The Kumano brushmaker's example.
Incredible dedication, right? Years learning just one part of the process. Or Jiro, the sushi chef, spending decades perfecting his craft. It's not seen as tedious. The work itself provides the flow, the satisfaction.
It's about valuing the process, the conditions. Almost like working with the material, not just on it. Maybe related to Shinto ideas of kami or spirit in things.
That's a connection the source makes, yeah. Flowing with what you create. And Haruki Murakami fiercely protecting his writing time, creating that essential space for flow.
But it's not just for grandmasters, right? They mention microflow.
Right, finding focus and enjoyment in everyday tasks. That story of the elevator operator in Tokyo, doing a repetitive job for years, but with such genuine enthusiasm.
Smiling, welcoming people.
Exactly. You can find engagement anywhere. Meditation is also mentioned as practice for this, not necessarily reaching bliss, but just practicing bringing your attention back again and again from distractions.
So noticing which activities pull you into slow. Big projects, small hobbies, even routine stuff done mindfully that can be a clue to your Ikigai. Identifying those common threads.
That's the idea. Use flow as your guide. What truly engages you. Working with hands, solving problems, helping people. It points the way.
Okay, moving on from habits and flow.
Yeah.
The sources talk a lot about emotional resilience, handling setbacks.
Yeah, bouncing back. That Japanese proverb nails it. Nanakorobiya oki, fall 7 times, rise 8.
Love that.
Yeah.
And the source contrasts modern stress with cave dweller stress.
It's a great contrast. Our ancestors had intense stress responses, adrenaline, cortisol, but triggered by real, immediate physical threats, like a saber-toothed tiger.
Right, fight or flight.
Exactly. But our modern lives, constant emails, notifications, deadlines, social media pressure trigger that same physical response, but often to perceived threats, and it's chronic. It just keeps going.
And that sustained stress is bad for longevity.
Definitely. Though the source does note that low levels of stress, a bit of challenge can actually be good for us, keep us sharp.
It's the chronic, high-level stuff that's the problem. So how do we build resilience? Mindfulness comes up again.
Big time. Paying attention to your internal state. Noticing your reactions without automatically acting on them. Getting off that autopilot, like reaching for snacks when you're stressed without even thinking about it.
So techniques like meditation, breathing exercises, yoga, body scans, they help with that awareness.
They do. And acceptance is huge. Morita therapy has mentioned accepting feelings like you accept the weather. You can't control them directly, but you can observe them and choose your actions.
Like that Thich Nhat Hanh quote, "Hello, solitude. Come, sit with me." Acknowledging difficult feelings instead of fighting them.
Yes. But Morita therapy adds that interesting point. While you accept the feelings, your actions can gradually change them. Do something productive, even if you don't feel like it, and your feelings might follow.
Okay. And then there are deeper philosophies mentioned, like Buddhism and Stoicism.
2 ancient traditions offering powerful tools. Buddhism teaches observing emotions without getting carried away by them. The Om Padme Hu mantra is cited, with each syllable linked to purifying negativity, pride, jealousy, desire, etc.
Acknowledging but not identifying with them.
Right. And Stoicism aims for tranquility, apatheia, freedom from being slaves to our passions or fears. Not about no pleasure, but about not being controlled by it and being prepared for things to change, for loss.
They practice negative visualization, thinking about worst-case scenarios.
Yeah, not to be gloomy, but to appreciate what you have now and to be mentally prepared if things go wrong. Seneca apparently lived very simply sometimes, even though he was rich, just to practice resilience.
And that core Stoic idea, focus on what you can control, your thoughts, your actions, not external events.
Exactly. Epictetus. It's not what happens to you, but how you react that matters. It's the heart of it. like the Serenity Prayer, really.
Both traditions also emphasize impermanence, don't they?
A huge theme. Marcus Aurelius writing about loved ones falling like leaves. Seneca saying all human creations are temporary. It sounds maybe bleak, but the point is to cherish the present more deeply because it's fleeting, and it softens the pain of loss when it inevitably happens.
Which ties into those Japanese concepts, again, wabi-sabi and ichigo-ichi.
Beautifully. Wabi-sabi is about finding beauty in imperfection, in the transient, the slightly flawed. That cracked teacup example again. Or the way wood ages naturally. Even the Ai's shrine being rebuilt every 20 years, preserving the process and tradition, accepting the cycle. Imperfection is seen as natural, even valuable.
And ichigo-ichi.
This moment exists only now and won't come again. It's a powerful reminder to be fully present, to treasure each unique encounter, each experience, a conversation, a cup of tea, watching the rain. Focus on the now.
Taking resilience a step further, the sources introduce anti-fragility. Nassim Taleb's idea.
Right. This isn't just bouncing back resilience or resisting damage, robustness. Anti-fragile things actually get stronger from shocks, stress, disorder, like the Hydra myth cut off one head to grow back.
The source mentioned the Tuchoga tsunami, how systems learned and improved after that disaster.
Yes, using shocks as opportunities to strengthen. So how can we become more anti-fragile?
Good question. What did the source suggest?
First, create redundancies. Don't rely on just one thing, one income source, one skill, one close friend group. Spread things out. The Ogimi elders often having a main job plus income from gardening is an example. Overspecialization makes you fragile. Step out of your comfort zone sometimes too.
Diversify your life, essentially.
Kind of, yeah. Second, manage risk smartly. Be cautious where failure would be catastrophic, but take lots of small, calculated risks where the potential upside is high and the downside is limited. Like that investment example. Most money's safe, a little bit spread across many small, high-potential bets.
Limit your potential losses, maximize potential gains.
Exactly. And third, actively eliminate sources of fragility in your life. Toxic people, bad habits like debt or chronic unhealthy behaviors, commitments that drain you without adding value. The source calls these good riddance goals. Removing things that weaken you makes you inherently stronger.
So it reframes challenges, not just things to endure, but potential catalysts for growth, adaptation, maybe even clarifying your Ikigai.
That's the idea. Adversity forces you to adapt, sometimes in ways that make you better off in the long run.
And finally, the sources look at lessons from people who've actually lived these long lives, the centenarians.
Yeah, real-world examples, like Maria, 100 years old, her secrets were dancing, crafts, never eating meat.
Or Jean Calment in France, 122.
Yeah.
Sense humor, rode her bike till 100, even smoked till 120, which is maybe not advice to follow, but shows attitude counts.
Right. And Walter Browning, 114, kept busy, ate just 2 meals a day. And those artists, Hokusai wanting to truly understand things by 110, Ellsworth Kelly seeing more with age, Frank Gehry talking about patience and curiosity.
They didn't retire from their passions.
Never. And the specific insights from Ogimi Village are fascinating.
The Moai groups.
Yes, those social support networks like extended family, crucial, plus lots of volunteering, community centers, just a really active social life.
And that quote from Yuki, the local director, "The secret is smiling and having fun. Food is least important."
Amazing, right? Other Ogimi advice reinforces earlier points. Keep hands busy, wake early, walk, eat variety, keep working if possible, live peacefully, enjoy the little things, nurture friendships, appreciate nature, stay optimistic. Simple, consistent stuff.
So pulling it all together, the source kind of summarizes this art of living.
Yeah, the epilogue lists these core principles. Stay busy, but take it slow. Don't stuff yourself, hara hachibu. Surround yourself with good friends. Get in shape with daily movement. Smile. Reconnect with nature. Give thanks. And live in the moment.
It comes back to that focus on the present, like Mitsuo Aida's calligraphy and poems mention happiness from the heart. Keep going. Don't change your path.
Ultimately, the source would suggest that finding and actively nurturing your Ikigai day by day is what brings meaning and lets you experience that fulfilling flow state. It's an ongoing process, not a destination.
Well, this has been a really rich, deep dive into Ikigai and all the wisdom surrounding it for a longer, happier life. We've covered so much daily habits, finding flow, resilient strategies from ancient philosophy, and modern ideas like anti-fragility.
Yeah, and seeing how appreciating imperfection, wabi-sabi, and living fully in the present ichigo-ichi are really keys to happiness, and how even tough times, viewed through the lens of anti-fragility, can actually strengthen us.
So maybe a final thought for you listening. Thinking about wabi-sabi and ichigo-ichi. What's one small, maybe imperfect moment today that you could just pause and fully appreciate exactly as it is?
And thinking about anti-fragility, when you face a challenge you might normally avoid, could you try leaning into it just a little, see it not just as a threat, but maybe an opportunity to adapt and grow stronger in your own life?
Food for thought. Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
Thanks, everyone.